Today, a federal communications commission voted to repeal the Obama-era net neutrality rules. Meanwhile, the Trump White House was once again consumed by petty dramas. For more on this, it's time for a closer look. Today, the Republican-led FCC voted to dismantle the free and open internet by repealing former President Obama's net neutrality rules, which were designed to ensure that all web traffic is treated equally and prevent service providers from blocking or filtering content they don't want you to see. The FCC is led by Ajit Pai, who is best known for both his opposition to net neutrality and for the size of his coffee mug.
Greetings, Chairman Pai. Mindy Hill with the DCVoice.com. And I just have a comment. During the Obama administration, the FCC had no jurisdiction over regulating programming.
I'm sorry, but you can't just drink from a mug that size without any explanation. Was the mug always that big, or did you shrink? Are you sharing an office with Rick Moranis? Is that why you want to limit the internet so people can't go online and make memes about you and your giant coffee mug? Now, polls show that Americans overwhelmingly support net neutrality, with 83% overall in favor of keeping the FCC rules, including 75% of Republicans. And it makes sense. Republicans would favor an open internet. Otherwise, they'd have to get their news from newspapers or CNN instead of Facebook group Patriot Eagle MAGA 1776. Net neutrality ensures an open and democratic internet where people can make and access content equally. But Pai has argued that limiting regulation of the internet would actually encourage companies to innovate more. And he keeps using one phrase in particular.
Until 2015, we had light touch regulation. The consumer was best served with light touch regulation. It's under that light touch framework, light touch regulation, and that's the kind of success that we want to promote in the future with light touch regulation.
Please stop using the term light touch. You sound like someone defending themselves to HR. What did Deborah say I did? That was a light touch. You were there, like light. And yet, despite the potentially disastrous consequences of this vote, D.C. and the Trump White House in particular have been consumed once again by chaos and drama. Like, for example, the firing of longtime Trump ally Omarosa. Now, Omarosa's official job title was Communications Director for the Office of Public Liaison, but no one was ever really sure exactly what she did in the White House. In fact, before she was fired, all anyone had ever heard about Omarosa's time in the White House was that she held a photo shoot with her bridesmaids there in April before getting married. Politico reported that Omarosa brought members of her 39-person bridal party to 1600 Pennsylvania Avenue for an extended wedding photo shoot, catching fellow senior aides and some security officials by surprise in her bridal attire. The visitors loudly wandered around, looking to snap photos in the Rose Garden and throughout the West Wing. Oh my God, Trump's staff treats the White House the way tourists treat the M&M store. I want a picture with the green one. Also, 39 bridesmaids? Is it a massive wedding, or are you just trying to make one friend feel really terrible? I'm sorry, Becky, the max was 39, and you're my 40th best friend. Now, apparently it was Chief of Staff John Kelly who did the firing, although Trump signed off on it. Reporting that was confirmed by April Ryan, White House correspondent of American Urban Radio Networks, in one especially great moment when Ryan called back to Trump's famous catchphrase.
So General Kelly had had enough, and he'd finally gotten the president to sign off. And last night, it did not end well.
She was a contestant on The Apprentice, President Trump's former TV program. So they have a history. They go way back
And
to
she was
that.
fired again.
Twice, yeah.
All right. I don't know if he said
This
you're
time for
fired.
real.
This time
He didn't say you're fired, but
You're
General
fired.
Kelly said you're fired.
All right. Everybody stand by. There's more news.
Damn, look at her sipping from her mug while she says that. The only way that would have been better if she had Ajit Pai's mug. Today on Good Morning America, Omarosa claimed that the stories about her exit from the White House were not true. Specifically, she refuted reports that she blew up at Kelly and had to be escorted off the White House premises. In fact, Omarosa said that she didn't make a scene and that Kelly fired her in a very private place.
I resigned, and I didn't do that in the residence as being reported. John Kelly and I sat down in the Situation Room, which is a very secure, very quiet room in the White House.
Wow, the Situation Room. Though I have a feeling any room Omarosa goes into becomes a Situation Room. Seriously, you know it's bad when they have to fire you in the same place they killed Osama bin Laden. Omarosa also claimed she had a story to tell and would eventually tell that story once her tenure at the White House is officially over. And later, when the GMA anchors were discussing the interview, Robin Roberts gave her the perfect send-off.
She said she has a story to tell, and I'm sure she'll be selling that story.
We'll see.
Well, yeah, she will. Bye, Felicia.
Damn. Damn. I wish all news anchors signed off that way. That's how Edward R. Murrow should have signed off during the McCarthy era. Good night, good luck, and bye, Felicia. Now, of course, it's never fun to relish anyone's firing, but Omarosa routinely attacked Trump's critics and even went so far as to threaten people who crossed him. And while Robin Roberts might have been ice cold, others were less muted in their reactions to Omarosa's firing, like CNN commentator Angela Rye.
Brooke, I'm going to
Yes,
do
ma'am.
what you can't do and what April and Simone are too good of people to do, and that's just going to be petty for a minute. Ah!
Oh, Angela. Oh,
Bye,
Angela.
girl.
Oh,
Bye.
Angela.
Goodbye, good riddance. Goodbye. Deuces.
Angela,
Out.
Angela, you know I have much love for you, but you know what? I don't delight in anyone's demise.
I'm not delighting in her demise. I wish her the best, but
I'm not sure you can really say I wish her the best when it's followed by this. When she did that, I'm pretty sure the closed captioning said, I wish her the best, psych. But of course, Omarosa is not the only longtime Trump acolyte who's suddenly on the outs. There's also former White House chief strategist Steve Bannon, an early and vocal backer of Roy Moore in Alabama. Bannon went to war with the GOP establishment and managed to lose the Senate seat in arguably the most Republican state in the country. And that has led to many Republicans turning on him, like New York Republican Congressman Peter King, who did not hold back in an interview on CNN on Wednesday.
Why Bannon? Why is he such a big deal?
You know, I was even raising this not even so much as a political issue, almost as a moral issue. This guy does not belong on the national stage. He looks like some disheveled drunk that wandered onto the political stage.
Hey, Peter King, you doing my job now? I'll do the looks like jokes around here. Steve Bannon looks like a cop who went undercover to solve a case, and then they forgot to tell him the case was solved, so he just stayed undercover for another 10 years. I got a lead. So Republicans on the FCC are trying to dismantle the free and open internet despite overwhelming opposition, and the Trump White House is consumed once again by petty drama. I don't know how long it'll be until Republicans are kicked out of office, but when it happens, I hope it's reported like this.
Bye, Felicia.
This has been a closer look.